On today's Know Your Rights segment, we're concluding our discussion about estate planning and how you should go about writing a will. Catherine Stone from Barbas Law is back. I'll say the will seems like the last one, but to kind of wrap our minds around everywhere we've been, my count is we have 6 documents that we need without the will. Am I right?
Correct. Yes.
What I would say, let's just kind of quickly.
Just as a short recap, you've got before you go into the hospital, you've got the power of attorney. You've got the designation of healthcare surrogate for someone to make your medical decisions. We've got the living will. And then we talked about having a healthcare surrogate for the children or the child. For if you're out of pocket or unavailable for any reason, someone can make medical decisions for your child. And then we also talked about the designation of a guardian for that minor child. Again, in case something were to happen to you, the courts would know who your preference was with regards to who you would want to take over your child.
See why I asked you to do that, Liz? Because there was no way I was going to be able to do that. And the other thing maybe is the most important document is that I know at your law firm, you also have an information packet that helps people kind of navigate all of these matters.
Yes, so before you even come into the office, we're going to send out a brochure packet for you to go through, and it's basically going to go through all of the different topics that are available to you, kind of give you a short summary of them. Also, there's a questionnaire in there that's going to ask you to start thinking about your beneficiary. It's going to ask you to start thinking about your designated representatives, and it's not even going to ask you about one. I actually ask you for 3, because then in certain situations you may want to designate alternates.
Oh.
And so, or sometimes some people want to do co-guardians or co-designated healthcare surrogates. So there's a lot of different options, but the packet will at least get you familiar with what would be talked about during the initial consultation.
And I would say before we dive into wills, we do want to point out this is, again, just one kind of law that you do at the law firm, kind of a boutique law firm where you can get everything.
We're a boutique law firm. We have a lot of different attorneys that do a lot of different practice areas of law, and we really try to, keep our clients coming back, and we want to try and service as many of their needs as possible.
Well, one of the needs, of course, your assets. What happens to your assets if something were to happen to you? That's where a will comes in. I mean, the word itself just is intimidating to me.
It invokes fear in a lot of people, but again, it's something that everyone needs to think about, and everyone needs to have a conversation with, in your case, your husband or your partner, whomever you're with. How do you get legal transfer of certain assets to your beneficiary? In your particular case, it would be your child. So there's so many different options, way too many for us to even start trying to count those.
I won't do that to you.
But it's something that needs to be looked at depending on your financial situation. How is that asset going to be transferred legally to your beneficiary? And also you can put in stipulation and restrictions on when and how those assets are transferred to your beneficiary. You can designate percentages. You can also designate guardian for those assets if you have a minor child. So these are definitely important documents because otherwise there's certain tools to keep things out of probate, and there's certain recommendations that we can make, and that's a whole different packet actually with regards to the probate process and what can be done to avoid probate. And we kind of go through all of those. We go through your assets with you, and we discuss each one with you to make sure that it's labeled correctly, titled correctly, and you understand the way it's titled at that point, what would happen to it.
Well, I gotta say, the thing that's been so nice talking with you during this whole process, not only am I going through this, but how you guys customize everything and how every situation really is different, and that's what you can navigate for people during this process.
Yes.
Well, again, if you have questions, I'm sure, I still have some, so I hope
we'll talk later.
Well, if you do have questions about your rights, all you have to do is just give them a call at 1-800-BARBAS-LAW or go to barbaslaw.com/knowyourrights.